had planned on moving on from Return to Tatooine Kenner Edition this week, but then something occurred to me. There's a piece that's been featured in a bunch of my videos, but I've yet to review. So stick around, we're going to review that item next. Hey Star Wars fans, welcome back to another video from All Things Star Wars Considered. As always, I'm your host Doug, and before we get into this week's content, I just wanted to send a special shout out to my buddies Jack and Justin St. Pierre, who were instrumental, you like that word? Instrumental in providing the music for my new introductory segment. They had a band called Cregan, and that song is called Death of Democracy, and I always loved it, and always kind of envisioned that for the little intro leading into my channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and without further ado, let's get into this week's content. So I was going through a couple of my videos, from Return to Tatooine, seeing if I wanted to move on, see if there was something I'd kind of missed. And I was kind of ready to move on. And then I realized that I've talked a bunch and showed the Landspeeder a bunch. And I've yet to really even do a review on it. And it's a very simple ship. There wasn't a lot to it, so it won't take a lot of time to kind of get into it and kind of, show you all the features of it. But then we can do some displays with it, and that's always fun. So let's remind you that it looks like it's floating. So when we come back, we're going to get into the review and display of the 1978 Kenner Landspeeder. Stick around, that's coming up next. Okay, and let's get into this. Now, like I did with the Rancor, before we get started, just like to apologize that I do not have the box for this. I still have to go out and pick up some of these ships and the like complete. I do have a pretty extensive collection, but a lot of my collection are missing packages or boxes. And that's very disheartening, but it is what it is. I picked this up very late in the run. I got it at the flea market, but the least I can say is that at least I got it complete, because sometimes the windshield's missing, sometimes the seats are missing or broken, sometimes this hinge for this hatch is broken. So it is complete and everything does work. Let's get into the features. So we have this front hatch, like I started to say earlier, and by pushing that button, that releases it, and you have the turbo engines that are exposed now. Now, it's good for storing accessories or weapons. What I used to do as a kid is we would have the Tusken Raiders kind of ransacking this thing. We'd have one of them under the hood of this thing grabbing stuff after they had attacked Luke, just like in the movie. Because you remember, they did go through the Landspeeder and kind of start grabbing stuff before Obi-Wan showed up. So you just push down on that, and that kind of locks back into place. And great detailing on this. I like the color scheme. I kind of got like that orangey body, and then you've got like the maroon accents. I think it works. It's a little underscaled. Like the front piece of this front nose of this would be a little bit longer, be more elongated. But for 1978, this thing looks fantastic. I always like the chrome details on each side of the ship. Mine's are a little discolored here. That's the unfortunate thing when you have a toy that's 40 years old. It's not going to be perfect, especially when it's out on display. And a lot of my stuff is on display. So unfortunately, that's what happens. Obviously, too, this windshield starts to yellow. I don't know if you can kind of see it. But, over time, the the clear plastic starts to yellow. So let's get into a couple more features of this ship. We have this lever here. And the lever here, if you pull it back, it retracts the landing gear, the wheels, right? And the wheels kind of sink into the body, and then it just kind of sits flat on the surface. But when you release this switch or this lever, the wheels come down, and then you get this kind of they're spring loaded, so they're very bouncy, and like the kids in the commercials say, it looks like it's floating. And you know what? As corny as it sounds, it actually did look like it was floating. So it rolls along very nicely, and because of the way it's designed, you actually look at it and you actually think that it's floating. So that is pretty cool. So let's bring in Luke Skywalker now. And let's put him in there. And this is always tough because you're putting vintage figures in your Landspeeder, and you hate to move the limbs because, they get loose. So let's bring in Ben. And you notice I don't have the cape on him. If you have a cloth cape for Ben, which sometimes I'll do my Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker cape, and I'll give it to Ben. At least you can put him in there because it won't damage the cape. I wouldn't advise doing it with the vinyl. I mean, you can, but eventually the vinyl will rip and start to weather. So we got Ben in there, we have Luke in there. Now, let's show you one other cool feature that I always thought was, well thought out by Kenner. You have a couple of foot pegs on the back here. And you're probably going, what are the foot pegs for? Well, I don't have R2 handy, but I do have R5D4. So you could actually take that and you could actually kind of put him in the back there. And look at, see? I mean, so you could roll him along and he doesn't fall off. And you could do the same thing with C-3PO, and I don't have a 3PO handy nearby. But when we come back with the display, I'll show you when I put 3PO on there at the time. So you'll be able to see that. So here's your Landspeeder. And it's a neat little piece, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. And besides doing just a review on it, we're going to actually show this in a couple of displays. And when I started looking back at some of the Return to Tatooine stuff, I said, wow, I've had the Landspeeder in a couple of different displays, and I've yet to really even touch upon it. So I felt that I was doing a disservice to the channel by not actually getting into the features of the Kenner Landspeeder. So that was what the purpose was for this video today. So when we come back, we're going to start doing some displays of the Kenner Star Wars Landspeeder. So stick around for that. Okay, and here's our first shot. Look, there's a droid on the scanner, dead ahead. Might be our little R2 unit. Hit the accelerator. And of course, you know what was going on while they were doing that. The Tuskens are at the top of the cliff, planning their attack. And sure enough, dead ahead, there's their little R2 unit. Just where do you think you're going? Master Luke is your rightful owner now. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish. You're lucky he doesn't blast you into a million pieces right here and now. No, it's okay, but we should go. What's he going on about now? He says there are several creatures approaching from the east. Sand people, or worse. Come on, let's go have a look. Well, there are two banthas down there, but I don't see... Wait, I see one of them now. I don't know if that was my best Tusken impression, but probably better than the way the kids did it when we were young. So as you can see, the Tusken has attacked Luke. 3PO has taken a tumble. His arm has been lost. And this Bantha and Tusken served as the perfect distraction. Okay, as you can see, again, like I said, 3PO's lost an arm. R2-D2 has nestled himself in between some rocks to avoid having to deal with the Tuskens. Luke is unconscious. The Tuskens start to go through the Landspeeder, ransacking it, when all of a sudden a loud howl comes from the canyon. We look back, and who's coming? Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Tuskens, they're startled. They flee. Of course, Obi-Wan approaches, sees R2. Hello there. Don't be afraid. Come here, my little friend. He'll be all right. Luke starts to come too. Ben Kenobi? Boy, am I glad to see you. The Junlin wastes are not to be traveled lightly. Tell me, young Luke, what brings you out this far? This little droid. He's searching for his former master, but I've never seen such devotion in a droid before. He claims to be the property of an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is that a relative of yours? Do you know who he's talking about? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think my uncle knows him. He says he's dead. Oh, he's not dead. Not yet, anyways. Oh, you do know him. Of course I know him. He's me. I haven't gone by the name Obi-Wan since before you were born. Oh, so the droid does belong to you. Don't recall ever owning a droid. Very interesting. Come, we must get indoors. The Sand People are easily startled, but they'll soon be back, and in greater numbers. Uh-oh. What? Oh, 3PO. Where am I? I must have taken a bad step. Well, can you stand? We gotta get out of here before the Sand People return. I don't think I can. You go on, Master Luke. There's no sense risking yourself on my account. I'm done for. What kind of talk is that? Quickly, they're on the move. So there you have it. There's the final scene in Return to Tatooine. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next video.
It's the new Star Wars Landspeeder.
Wow, looks like it's floating. The Sand People are coming. It's up to Luke Skywalker and his Landspeeder to get us out.
Action figures each sold separately. The Landspeeder has a snap-open space hatch, and Star Wars action figures R2-D2 and C-3PO fit right in back.
Hurry, they're fancy. Activate spring glide wheels. The Force goes with us. Yeah.
Kenner's new Star Wars Landspeeder. Action figures each sold separately.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the review and display of the 1978 Kenner Landspeeder as part of Return to Tatooine Kenner Edition. Well, that used to be a mouthful. Yeah, a few weeks back it was, but I've been doing this segment now for the past 5 weeks, so it pretty much just rolls right off the tongue. I had planned on moving on this week, but when I came in the room today to start shooting, I looked around and all the Tatooine stuff, all the Kenner Tatooine stuff was still sitting here. So it just made sense to just continue on with it. Obviously, it wasn't a wasted segment because we haven't touched upon the Landspeeder. And there's probably plenty of Kenner fans who've been kind of dying to see a review of the Kenner Landspeeder. Maybe they didn't have it when they were a kid. Maybe they started collecting late. Maybe they're new to the Kenner franchise and they're just getting into collecting Kenner stuff now. And they need to know about the actual features of the Kenner Landspeeder. So if that's the case, then I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I will say this, I am going to be doing some Hasbro stuff down the line. I do have a couple of items on pre-order from Hasbro. They are set to ship shortly, so I will be touching upon some modern stuff. Obviously, a lot of people come to the channel to see the Kenner stuff, but there's other people that want to see the Hasbro stuff too, and I do not want to exclude them. So we will be doing some modern Hasbro stuff. I enjoy both. So either way, I'm enjoying it. So it is all things Star Wars considered, mind you. So we do have to kind of touch upon non-Kenner stuff. So we will be doing that down the line. I also have a vacation coming up, and with the weather being so lousy in New England, we probably will not be getting on a plane going anywhere. It's a little bit scary to travel in a plane nowadays. So I think we're going to keep our feet firmly on the ground. I will come into this room during that week, and I will probably put together a couple of videos. So be on the lookout for that. Having said that, we're going to start to wrap things up. Before we do so, though, I'd just like to thank everybody for the continued support of the channel. Obviously, you guys are the reason why I do what I do. If you haven't done so, I ask you to hit the subscribe button so I can continue to bring you that valuable Star Wars content we've all come to know and love. Lately, I've picked up a ton of new subscribers, and for that, I am thankful, I'm appreciative, I'm humbled by the support, and I just want to keep pumping the videos out for you, the Star Wars collecting community. I got plenty of knowledge in this mug of mine, so I want to keep sharing it with you guys. If you like the video, give it a like. You know that helps the channel as well. If you have a question, a comment, some input, please leave it in the comment section. And you know I'll get back to each and every one of you. Obviously, it's my favorite part of the channel. So keep the comments coming. I'll keep answering them, I promise. Want to wish everybody a great day. Thank everybody for watching. And we will see you on the next video. And as always, may the Force be with you.
There's an old man living cold and poor. Feels like there's nothing to give. There's a young boy crossing by his path, reflected how he